Greetings, Galactic Jedis, Patriots, and Freedom Fighters. Today's March the 10th, 2025. We are steadily on a positive timeline trajectory, and I am excited to be here with you guys tonight. I have a current geopolitical update, as well as giving you guys a thorough explanation regarding the quantum financial system as it is connected to a quantum living organic computer, all right, and how it's all going to work. Now, before I start with the geopolitical update and breaking down the QFS, because a lot of people are still asking me about the QFS, Ishmael, how is this going to work? Should I take all my money out of the stock market at this time? Yes. I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of the stock market, but it seems like it's been plummeting in the last week, and it's just getting worse. And a lot of it has to do with the crash of the old fiat dollar. Okay, so it's going to be exciting times in the next few weeks when all this stuff hits the fan. Now, my last live, I did notice that some of you guys were commenting. I do read the comments, by the way, saying that the goalpost is always being moved, and I wanted to give you guys some remarks regarding that. It's not because the white hats are compromised, or it's not because the white hats don't want to, of course, execute a full disclosure. It's because whatever remains of the cabal, they're trying so hard for these, records, for these files, for these documents to not be released to the general public. But it doesn't matter because, according to Project Looking Glass, the white hats have pinned down the cabal on every probable timeline where all of the files do eventually come out to light, and all of the documents come out to the general public. So it is in progress, and we are looking at probably with a you could say a revelation of one thing exposing one big person, another big person, and then it's just going to, like a domino effect, it's just going to go bam, 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 bam. Everything's going to come out. So it is going to be a massive disclosure when all of this information is revealed to the general public. Now, the reason I said that we're not expecting open contact till 2026 is because that is the deadline that the extraterrestrials gave the Earth Alliance. Okay, that is a deadline that the Galactic Alliance gave the white hats, that by no later than 2026, which means that sometime this year, they have to begin disclosing a lot of information in order to prepare the masses for the biggest disclosure ever, and that is the fact that we are part of a multidimensional reality, that there are other dimensional beings that have been coexisting with us on different frequencies, that have been monitoring our civilization, and for the most part, most of them have been benevolent and have been helping humanity from behind the scenes. Okay, so there is a deadline, and not to mention, all this has to come to pass before 2028. Okay, and the reason being is because the current reality program that was set into motion when the negative Anunnaki took over the affairs of our world expires in 2028. So by 2028, this reality construct, the electromagnetic field, everything that holds together, the pixelation, the tetrahedrons that hold together reality is coming to an end. So we're either going to move up to the new Earth or we're going to go into a different timeline. So the choice is going to be afforded to everyone. Okay, now for those that don't know me, my name is Ismael Perez. I'm the author of those amazing books back there, The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, which reveals the entire history of the cabal from the days of the flood all the way to the present. And then, of course, the entire history of the white hats going back to biblical times and how there is a bloodline association, and as well as our cosmic origin, which restores galactic history and cosmic information back to the Earth. Now, a few people did ask me, Ishmael, where do you get your intel? Well, when it's a galactic report, I get my intel from the commanders, primarily Commander Valiant Thor. He is like my primary source of information when it comes to what's happening in the exopolitical area, which is the off-world programs in relationship to what's happening here. Now, as far as like the geopolitical events, I do a lot of research, and I put a lot of information together to just kind of give you guys a synapse, an up-to-date synapse as to what's going on from behind the scenes with this war against the deep state. So, another thing, as a reminder, guys, heads up, I will be attending the alien event, Biomed Expo, here in Los Angeles, April the 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's going to be on a weekend, so I will be presenting, and I believe that I'm going to be speaking on all the panels. So for those that attend the Sonosta Hotel on April 4th, 5th, and 6th here in Los Angeles, I will be there. I will be there. And any other announcements? I don't think so. Okay. I also want to give you guys deep gratitude. All right, some of you are probably get to the intel. All right, let's get right into it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me. As you guys know, the first thing I want to talk about is that X has been under a cyber attack as reported by Elon Musk. Elon Musk believes that it's some sort of a large company, large corporation, or even a large group of people. I'm starting to wonder if that's related to the people behind BlackRock and Vanguard. So yeah, X has been hit in the last 24 hours really hard. Reports from Elon Musk that there's been major cyber attacks to the point that over 40,000 people couldn't even get on their X account. So that is, something that just happened within the last, I guess, 24 hours. So I just wanted to break the iceberg with that. As I get now into the geopolitical update and break down what the quantum financial system is all about and how it's really going to be the system of an interplanetary society as we move up into a better world. Okay, so in the past 48 hours, twice, okay, this is another thing. An F-16 fighter jet intercepted general aviation aircraft near President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. Okay, so apparently, whatever's left of the deep state, they were trying to crash an airplane very similar to what they did in September of 2001, September 11, in New York. They were trying to do the same thing, but at Mar-a-Lago. But apparently, the White Hats were able to intercept this F-18 fighter jet that was scheduled to hit Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so it didn't happen, thank God. In addition to that, Senator Lindsey Graham said this morning that he believes, said yesterday morning on the 10th of March, that he believes that Congress will pass a spending bill this week and that there will be no government shutdown. Okay, I don't know if you guys have been listening to the fake news, but apparently the Democrats have been requesting some sort of a government shutdown due to what Doge has been unveiling and discovering as they continue auditing the federal government. Okay, but the good news is that the Patriots, the White Hats, will not allow for a government shutdown. Furthermore, Elon Musk did call for an investigation into Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. X has removed thousands of accounts over the past months suspected of having ties to the Communist Chinese Party, the CCP, which had been amplifying articles from the New York Times. Interesting, okay? So the Department of Homeland Security has started administering polygraph tests to employees to identify potential leakers of immigration operation details to the media. Okay, President Trump anticipates reports on the assassination attempts against him, and he stated, quote, that by possibly next week, they're going to release the truth behind his 2 attempts at his life, which, as you guys know, a lot of this is connected. Let's just say they were both connected to the members of the deep state. So President Trump is considering redefining the U.S. role in NATO, right? We're actually going to be pulling out, right? We're going to be pulling out of all these globalist organizations, including the possibility of ending its commitment to defend allies if attacked. So what's happening here is that the military White Hat Alliance and the 23 countries that are associated with that are breaking away from the European Union, okay? In addition to that, the CIA initiates a Doge-inspired purge, ordering employees to an off-site location to surrender their badges. Makes a lot of sense, right? A lot of fraud was discovered. Okay. In addition, Thomas Massie has officially reintroduced the end of the Fed bill, Federal Reserve, okay, the end of the Fed bill to completely dismantle the Federal Reserve. Americans would be better off, quote, this is what he says, Thomas Massey, that Americans would be better off if the Federal Reserve did not exist. In addition to that, more good news, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, announces a big revelation on the JFK files that are coming soon, okay? Boy, that is going to probably break the iceberg, right? Like I said, it's going to be one thing after another in a domino effect, okay? So yes, this is the year of disclosure, Galactic Jedis. We just have to be patient, all right? It is believed that everything happens in cycles, so we're definitely going to start seeing something perhaps at the end of this month, rolling into April, and culminating in June with just massive revelation after revelation after revelation, which is the true meaning of the apocalypse, where all of this information that has been held back from humanity for not only hundreds but thousands of years will be made into light, would become to light. Okay, so let's give you guys a quick explanation of a new financial system, okay? The global quantum financial system, which has been in place now for quite some time. Did you guys know that the quantum financial system was actually running parallel and simultaneously in the last 10 years to the IMF and all of the transactions that have been conducted by the elites? Did you guys know that? Well, here is the juicy intel regarding that. So it has been monitoring, okay, since its inception 10 years ago. I believe it came into existence in 2015 or 16. So since its inception, it has been monitoring all banking transactions and understanding its workings as a must for it to fully come online for humanity. Okay, so the QFS, for those that didn't know, it is a off-world monetary system used by what I call a level 1 or type 1 interplanetary civilization. So it is a common system used by many advanced civilizations of a population type 1 from across the universe, okay? So to give you guys an intro to the QFS and the global currency reset and how it all kind of works together, bear in mind that a lot of this is tied into the extraterrestrials, right? I've mentioned it before that the extraterrestrials, the Galactic Alliance, gifted the White Hats the gift of the QFS and the quantum computer and organic quantum computer to be 10 steps ahead of the cabal. Okay, so a lot of this is also connected to the RV, the GCR, and of course the GESARA, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, or you could also call it the Global Economic Stability and Recovery Act. And of course, believe it or not, the positive function within the breakaway group known as Solar Warden, it's a secret space program that is a positive non-terrestrial in working in collaboration with terrestrials, are the ones that are leading this, okay, that are behind this technology. So Trump's QFS is an off-world monetary system. And to give you guys an intro of this quantum financial system that directly ties into the global currency reset, the QFS system it is an advanced system without any equivalent politicians and bankers that has been able to catch them red-handed in real time, right? In the last 10 years, everything has been recorded. So all of that information is going to be released, okay? Everything was recorded. All the transactions in the last 10 years that have been conducted by the deep state has been recorded by this quantum financial system. So our victory is near, guys, okay? Each country must be now GESARA compliant in order to even participate in the quantum financial system, okay? So if this is a final wake up, guys, you know, the QFS system will cover the new global network for the transfer of gold or asset-backed money initiated by Russia and China to replace the U.S. centrally controlled SWIFT system. And what I mean by that, bear in mind that the Republic of China and Russia are part, and BRICS, they are part of the GESARA program, okay, the Global Economic Reformation and Recovery Act, which is supposed to end, of course, the banking dynasty of the Rothschilds. So the new quantum financial system, the QFS, runs on a quantum computer based on orbiting satellites And a lot of this is probably connected also to Starlink, right? And it is protected by secret space programs, positive programs, to ensure that it cannot be hacked, right? Because as reported in the last week, what's left of the deep state, they have been trying to hack it and they can't. It's impossible, okay? The quantum technology was provided by benevolent extraterrestrial galactics. The purpose of this new financial system is to put an end to the cabal's corruption, usury, and manipulation within the banking world. The key is to implement limitations that will prevent corrupted banksters from gaining significant profits. The QFS is completely independent from the existing centralizing banking system, making all other previous transfer systems like, for example, blockchain unnecessary, okay? And this is why cryptocurrency and Bitcoin are also going to collapse when the QFS is the only thing remaining. So at least there is no need for blockchain technology anymore, okay? As that has been superseded due to its shortcomings by at least two other transfer networks, putting the need for cryptos very much into doubt, okay? Because even the cryptos are not backed by valuable assets. They by, like gold and silver, okay? Moreover, after this revaluation, all sovereign currencies will be gold or asset-backed, okay? Ensuring a sustainable value, which makes the need for unbacked cryptos outdated, as these are simply digits on computer memory banks. Furthermore, the hype around cryptocurrencies is a modern-day example of the sheeple herd mentality. Apparently, there seems to be a lack of logical thinking here. When buying something of value, it is rational to exchange it for something of equal value, represented by the amount of the exchanged money. So since crypto does not carry any intrinsic value, right? It is no different than the fiat dollar. There can never be a balanced deal, all right? And in relation to its nominal value, there will never be stability between buyers and sellers of cryptos, as in the case with all the other merchandise. So to give an analogy, it is very unlikely that a tossed coin will fall on its edge, just as it is highly probable that there will always be either a majority that wishes to buy or there will be a majority that wishes to sell the crypto coins. So with the activation of the quantum financial system, the Galactic Alliance will completely destroy the entire central banking system that has been designed to destroy the world economy and put the world population into perpetual debt slavery. The little known truth is that the QFS has been running parallel to the central banking system for the last 10 years, okay? If not more than that. It has countered many hacking attempts hacking attempts to steal funds by the cabal. So the result being that many bankers have been caught red-handed with illegal money transfers and have consequently been arrested. Consequently been arrested, right? Because of the fact that they were tracked by the QFS, okay? So again, this was a white hat strategy, right? To get more dirt on these guys. So the QFS system, which is advanced without any equivalent. There is no technology, guys, that the cabal could use to counteract it. They tried, but they can't because it is so advanced, right? Little is known that this new system was invented in preparation for the takeover of the central banking systems, the central banking debt system, to end the financial slavery and control over the populace. So the alliance gave President Trump the magic wand of taking over the old banking system without changing it. The quantum financial system, the QFS, has no comparison to anything that has ever been introduced to the world before. It has no peer. It has no equivalent in advanced technology of any other system before it. It is a brand new system to our world, okay? It reigns supreme in terms of technology and any applicable technology. And to accomplish the 100% financial security and transparency of all currency account holders require. Okay, that's the main thing that the QFS can do. So it is unhackable, in other words. Okay, so with the QFS, the monetary system of the world can easily change to encompass gold-backed currencies that completely eliminate the transfer need of the old cabal central banking system. Regrettably, to fully comprehend the advanced QFS structure, there doesn't exist an equivalent technology to serve as an example. So what that means is that politicians and bankers are always going to be caught red-handed in real time with this QFS. No one ever suspected that this powerful quantum computer system could assign a digital number to every fiat dollar, euro, and yen sitting in every bank account all over the world and monitor it in real time, knowing exactly where it went and when it was transferred, and who sent it by their logic info, and what account received it. All right, it tracked all of that. So imagine the frustration of the bankers who has just stolen some money and illegally transferred this to another account to be subsequently arrested in real time for theft. And that explains why, again, these are other valid reasons why these mass arrests have been going on since 2016. Okay. So anyway, let's see. Think about it. Would they not apply every criminal trick? I'm talking about the deep state, every disgusting false flag, and I would say yes, right? Even down to the T, right? To the 2 assassination attempts. I can't wait for Mr. T to reveal that and its connection to the deep state. But everything and anything to stop this from happening, okay? Something to understand is that the White Hats Earth Alliance are not only using the QFS to track things in real time, right? But they're also using looking glass technology as well to foresee things before they happen, okay? So they have explored every avenue to hack and destroy the system. We're talking about the cabal. They think that they could have destroyed this system, but to no avail, okay? The quantum financial system is solid. The cabal is taking their last grasp of breath, but be assured that they are definitely on their way out. Okay, so their battle is lost. Our victory is near. The QFS is stopping the deep state in their tracks. The Alliance had to intervene with off-world, or more correctly, other dimensional technologies to deliver us Earthlings this super technological advanced monetary system. Okay, and another reason why the cabal has been losing on every probable timeline is because right now the Alliance, the Earth Alliance, and the White Hats, their technology is by far more superior than the technology that the negative ETs gave the cabal. Okay, so it is obviously rooted in the quantum computer intelligence that comes without any third dimension creation. So there is an intelligence to the quantum financial system that is being generated by quantum computer intelligence. Okay, there is no 3D creation that comes with an all-being recognition system that mimics the creation of a living entity. And we're talking about the Earth here. I mentioned this in the last slide. People always ask me, well, if the quantum financial system and the quantum computer that is operating from, if it's not working with AI, then what is it working with? It is working with the living intelligence of planet Earth. Planet Earth is a living entity, all right, guys? So it is connected to all crystalline structures. And believe it or not, there are layers within the Earth, crystalline layers, that hold intelligence, okay? That hold advanced intelligence. And not to mention, they have been using crystals in computers, okay? In transistors as well as in supercomputers to calculate and to solve issues, okay? But the natural organic system has a lot to do with the consciousness of the crystals of the Earth, okay? So one of the things that the cabal's been trying to mimic, again, is they've been trying to use artificial intelligence, right? In order to also try to replace human consciousness, right? With digital, entities. But again, that is a negative timeline. We call it the technocratic dystopian timeline. This has nothing to do with the quantum financial system. So just bear in mind that our planet Earth is a living entity, with the life force being the planetary's living energy fields. Okay, the planetary's living energy fields is what is empowering the quantum financial system. Okay, the QFS is considered to be alive with a quantum benevolent intelligence that interacts with each financial financial transaction anywhere in the world of finance, to ensure that it is legal, own intended, and transparent. If one understands quantum physics, right, and for those that have taken my Ascension 2.0, we go deep into the quantum physics as we learn how to manipulate the quantum field and how to access the quantum field. But for those that understand quantum physics, then one can understand what effect this quantum intelligence is having with each financial transaction that goes through the quantum financial system. Okay, it cannot be compromised. Even so, politicians that use the SWIFT transfer system that is tied to this Bank of International Settlements, based out of Switzerland, right? One of the headquarters of the elites monopoly systems, to transfer their ill-gotten illegal money all over the world. So basically, even the SWIFT transferring system is being calculated by the quantum financial system. So everything's been tracked, guys. Everything's been tracked. So for many didn't even know that the QFS was already running parallel to and simultaneously on patrol with the Swiss transferring systems of the cabal's networks. Okay, many didn't know that. Politicians didn't worry about being caught in the last 10 years. They thought that they could just do it, but little did they know that this off-world technology that was given to us was actually tracking everything in real time. Okay, so gold asset-backed currencies, only gold or asset-backed currencies that have a digital gold or asset certificate can be transferred also through the QFS. Okay, so that's the only thing that's going to be remaining when we do witness this financial collapse, right? The economic collapse that we've been waiting for years. So I think, honestly, a lot of people are asking me, so when is all of this going to go down? But I think it's all going to start with this financial collapse. Okay, the certificate will reference a serial number on a place of gold or asset. We're talking about the QFS, held in reserve to back the currency. Off-world technologies are used to quarantine the gold and assets used to back currencies. Let me rephrase that again. Off-world technologies are used to quarantine the gold and or assets used to back currencies. There is no way it can be stolen or taken out of the secure vaults where it is stored. That is why it is called a gold-backed currency, right? It has to reference back to the piece of gold or asset that is backing it up. So references to asset-backed currencies is the process of establishing a currency based on assets with the country of origin. So assets are the justification to establish the amount of currency available in a country. But all denominations of currencies must be accepted within the QFS and given a gold asset certificate to be active within the QFS. If the assets are mined or extracted from the earth, they will be sold on the marketplace as with any other commodity. This process is complicated and no simple task could accomplish it. But it is a process that it is necessary to ensure value to the worldwide currencies being used in the QFS. And any fiat currencies that cannot be designated as being clean, clear, or non-terroristic, or not clearly originating from legal activities are disqualified, which are most, if not all, fiat paper currencies. Okay, so fiat currencies can consequently not become legal in the QFS. Okay, that's why there has to be a crash of the current money system. Okay, fiat currencies already in possession at the time of full-scale implementation of the QFS, received whilst doing legal business, will be exchanged for gold-backed currencies at the bank. The procedure here is called reconciliation, qualifying the money transfer as being either legal or illegal, and will be carried out by a benevolent conscious entity from the fifth dimension. Okay, so there you guys go. You know, the ascension of Earth into the positive ascending fifth dimensional timeline corresponds, and the fourth dimensional timeline corresponds with the full activation of the QFS. So the confirmation and revelation of this benevolent component of the QFS will be the assurance and proof of 100% Benning secure neutral transfer system. So without the ability to reconcile the old fiat money into the QFS, all central bank activities will cease to have any relevance within this new financial system. Any country that is not GESERA compliant, will be left out of the QFS and will eventually be left out of international trade. Non-compliant countries, if any, will be left to barter commodities or work out a credit exchange with other countries, a system that is not presently set up to do business at any level of relevance. So the GCR, the global currency reset, each country must be GESERA in order to be part of this global currency reset. They must be GESERA compliant, and BRICS is GESERA compliant, okay, to participate within the QFS. The alliance will use a specific quantitative formula to establish the amount of currency available in a country which is to be gold back in the QFS. The result of the formula will establish a fair value of each country's assets as compared to another. Let me go get, I'm not done apparently. Let me go get something to drink because my mouth is really dry. Give me 1 minute. Sorry about that, guys. I had to go to my car and get my water. I had no water here in my house. But yeah, I was very thirsty. I'm going to continue with this quantum financial system, which is operated by quantum consciousness. All right. This is a type of technology that is a living organic consciousness. Okay. A living organic consciousness. Relief. Okay, let's continue. Okay. All right. So again, the alliance will use a specific quantitative formula to establish the amount of currency available in a country which is to be gold back in the QFS. The results of the formula will establish a fair value of each country's assets as compared to another. There is far more gold than needed to accomplish the gold backing of an off-world currency. I'm sorry, not off-world, of an all-world currency. All right, of an all-world currency. Excuse me, guys. I'll say that again. There is far more gold than needed to accomplish the gold backing of all world currencies. Okay, and that has a lot to do with the fact that the alliance has gone, and is now in charge or in possession of most of the gold, which is good, about 95% now, guys. Okay, once established through the GCR, the price of gold will become irrelevant. If the price of gold goes up, the value of all currencies will also go up as well, resulting in no net change to the par value of all currencies. The formula includes in ground assets, the economy of the country, its population, which is one of the country's assets, and a number of other parameters to determine the value of the country's currency. This formula is to be applied to each country so that all currencies will be on par value with all other countries. Okay, the application of this formula and the common value of all gold means that one country's currency has to have the same value as another country's currency. This is called the global currency reset, the GCR, which is the opposite of Shaw's Club, or whatever his name is. Schwab Klobs. I can't even pronounce his name. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's the opposite of what he would call the fourth industrial revolution, or the global reset. Excuse me. But his idea of a global reset is to use, again, cryptocurrency to keep track of everybody in real time. Okay, so this is the opposite of that. Okay, so the reset of all currencies on par with all other world currencies, and they each have a gold certificate to validate authentically. Okay, let me repeat that again. The reset of all currencies, which this is what the global currency reset is, the reset of all currencies on par with all other world currencies, and they each have a gold certificate to validate their authenticity. Okay, it is the requirement of each country to use the reset formula and apply the worldwide standards so that the QFS is able to function as planned. And this is why a country must be GSERA compliant, okay, to participate in the quantum financial system. So we have to trust the plan, because the plan is apparently connected with non-terrestrials, benevolent, positive non-terrestrials. The alliance has confirmed that their goal of defeating the deep state has been far more complex, time-consuming, and difficult than had been anticipated and planned for. It is becoming increasingly obvious that world-changing information is about to be dropped, probably sooner than expected. This will likely be accompanied by a much anticipated mass arrest. So there are literally over 70,000 sealed criminal indictments ready to be executed. And once this sequence of events takes place, it will be up to the awakened readers to help everyone understand what is going on. And this is where all of you guys are going to come into play as the awakened, to kind of mentor and help guide those that are going to be shocked when all of this information comes to the general public. So it will be up to the awakened, to each and every single one of you, to help everyone else understand what's going on, okay? Explaining the positive nature of the changes that are occurring and those underway. Now, it was brought to my attention that there will be a good portion of the population that are going to resist, that their cognitive dissonance is going to be so hard, so impenetrable, that they are going to resist the information, okay? They're not going to want to believe it, right? They're not going to buy it, right? So I just thought I'd let you guys know that, okay? Let's continue here. So never forget, guys, never forget that the deliberate debasement of our fiat currency by central bankers is theft and is equivalent to counterfeiting, okay? The founding fathers of this country saw counterfeiting as a serious crime deserving the death penalty. I believe it was Thomas Jefferson. It was Thomas Jefferson that said that a bigger threat than standing armies are central banking systems. Quote Thomas Jefferson, right? The deep state are in panic as the people are waking up and they realize that they can't stop it. They are continually trying to prevent or suppress it. But the truth is coming out regardless, guys, all right? We've already pinned them down on every probable timeline. So it doesn't matter if it happens in a week or two, it's going to happen this year. This is the year of disclosure, okay? This is the year of disclosure. Now, it is time people learn to think for themselves, right? By becoming detached from hypes in which, for example, multitudes of people, due to a mindless kind of group thinking, come to conclusions that something is valuable. Whereas if they were to think logically, they would come to the conclusion that this is not the case. Okay? Much in the world has been intentionally misinterpreted and misrepresented by the Mockingbird media. So this is a great lack of independent. So there is obviously, a great lack of independent critical thinking people. And this lack can easily be lifted by reading and studying all of this information, okay, that is about to come out. So a lot of this, okay, when they release the classified information, guys, they are going to allow everyone to use their free will to see if they want to actually read the documents, okay? So I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to read all those documents that they release, okay? It's up to the people to dig into those documents. So I strongly recommend that each and every single one of you not only read those documents, but also pass those documents to as many people as possible, okay? So the Great Awakening is here regardless, okay? It is here regardless. Let's see. So another thing that I want you guys to understand in connections to the quantum computers or the living quantum computer, also known as the quantum consciousness that is being generated by the living life forms and the living structures of the earth, is that it is going to be directly connected to the frequency emanating from our DNA. Now, this is something that I wanted to share with you guys, okay? So bear in mind that DNA is a frequency. Our DNA is a frequency, and so is reality all around us, okay? So DNA is frequency and light, okay? According to the new evidence, consciousness is a frequency, okay? You are in a holographic world in reality, right? Nothing is real. It is malleable, okay? Your vibration alone creates your reality. So there is nothing solid, right? As proven through quantum physics. Your DNA shifts through frequency. So your beliefs are the number one frequency that can program your DNA, not the physical external world, unless you believe that. But your beliefs, thoughts, and feelings create your reality as they are a frequency. The higher shifts in DNA take place through the frequency of the heart. I'll repeat that again. The higher shifts in DNA take place through the frequency of the heart, which is proven by new evidence and purported by Great Braden that the heart is also a brain that exerts a larger electromagnetic field than our brain up here, okay? The heart exerts a larger and more potent, powerful electromagnetic field than our brain up here, okay? So why am I saying this? Is because when the QFS is fully activated at the shift of the ages, depending on the frequency that you're vibrating in, depending on how much love and how much heart-centered and heart-based your life is around or associated around with, that will determine how much abundance you will be receiving, because the earth, this quantum living organic consciousness, is going to know and be in touch with each and every single one of you. Okay, it's going to know all hearts. So the more you are in your heart, the more abundance you're going to be receiving. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. So that actually validates and supports what many holy books talk about when they say that the first should be the last and the last should be the first. that the meek and the righteous will inherit the new earth and have abundance. Okay, so that's what that means. It is the vibration that you are going to be emanating from your heart that will tell the quantum computer, the quantum organic computer, that you are entitled to an endless amount of money. Okay, an endless amount of money, because you're going to use that for good. Okay, that's what's going to help build the new earth. Okay, people that have that are heart-centered and have a great understanding of how everything's interconnected, and just have pure compassion and love for all living things. Okay, so the higher shifts in DNA that takes place through the frequency of the heart, when the physical body dies, the eternal light body continues on. Okay, so as what you are is light. Okay, I mentioned this in my book, Our Cosmic Origin. We are light beings, right? We originated at the point of light, and through the process of involution, which is the descent through the lowering of frequency, as light beings, we gradually became more denser and denser and denser until we reached the third dimension, to become as solid as we appear. Okay, but as we raise our frequency, we become, again, we reverse the process, and we become less dense as we continue becoming more light again. So the DNA is a frequency tool that vibrates and sends out signals. Okay, everywhere, as there is no distance or time, right? Even time and distance is an illusion that only exists within the 3D. And this is not dependent on your beliefs either. This is how the universe operates. So when the vibrations in your DNA shift, so also your thoughts and mental patterns and heart awareness. Okay, the dimensions are not places to go on a plane and fly to, right? I've mentioned this before. Dimensions are not locations, right? They are all here simultaneously existing at the same time. So there are different levels of frequencies, right, or bandwidths of reality that are all that occupy the same space at the same time, in very similar fashion the way television and radio work. Okay, we know that there are multiple channels, hundreds of channels, right? If you have a smart TV and cable, and that there are multiple radio channels that are all occupying the same wavelengths. I mean, the same wavelengths, the same space at the same time. Okay. So they still exist now, and it is only when you attune to that frequency or that reality bandwidth, right, that you eventually bring your consciousness into that new reality. And so that is what's happening right now. A lot of people, due to their vibrational frequency, are actually already consciously living in the new earth. Okay, in the new earth. It is this space, right, that we enter, known as parallel world realities and other universes, and it is also the currency of eternity, right? Love. Let me explain that again. Love is the currency of eternity. Is the attunement of that vibrational frequency that is in alignment with universal consciousness or universal awareness, which is what we call Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness. So the limitless state, the limitless state is access through the heart. Let me repeat that again. The limitless state, to live a life of full abundance and full glory, is access through the heart. Okay, it is here, right here in the heart, and in this limitless multidimensional frequency of the heart, that you will only experience your divine ascension. Okay, so yeah, ascension is also a personal thing. It is an internal event before it happens externally. Now we are going to be reaching critical mass where it only takes a certain amount of people to have already reached that level or that frequency that will cause the rest of the planet to shift into that reality. And to be divine on earth, right? To be divine on earth, you have to be in your heart. You have to be in your heart. So remember this, guys, that you live as the eternal self. You live as the eternal self here and now. All right? Shift your consciousness into that. And trust me, everything will change, okay? Because there is no distance or time. In actuality, as proven by the new physics, everything's always accessible now, okay? And all levels and all dimensions are accessible through the heart. one of the things that I do reveal in my Ascension courses is that the heart is equivalent to what we call 0 point energy field. 0 point energy field. A 0 point energy field is also known as the quantum field. When you are in your heart, it is more easier for you to shift reality to any version you want of yourself. Okay? Any version you want of yourself. Now, I've been talking for almost an hour, but again, I had to explain all this to you guys because a lot of people have been asking me. I've been reading it in some of the comments. How's the QFS going to work? How do I know I'm going to be, taken care of when the QFS is activated? Well, it's a living consciousness connected to the organic fields of the planet that will be also registering the emanations and frequencies that are being generated by your heart, and that's how it's going to work. Okay, that's how this new system's going to work. Okay. I get so thirsty when I'm talking. So yes, overall, in short, it is a living consciousness. It is not artificial intelligence. Okay, it has nothing to do with AI. It is a living consciousness. Let's see. I do want to give some shout outs. I see Robert Langlos in the house. Wolf Mother is in the house. Starlight is in the house. Who else is in the house? Baby Blue Nose is in the house. Addie Shadrine, Patricia Sicha, Paul Safer, Sylvia Vidal, Quantum Love, MJF, Lee Archer is in the house. Brenda Wallowake is in the house. I hope I pronounced her name right. Who else is in the house? Nature Boy is in the house. Project Skyfalls is in the house. Wow, the chat is going super fast. It's like this. It is so hard to read anything. Yeah, let's see. Petra is in the house. Sandy Kerma is in the house. T. Sinclair, Paul Schaefer, Matt Briz. Who else is in the house? And all 2,341 people that are in the house. I want to welcome everyone that is here. Thank you guys so much for coming. I do have to clear my glasses because one side is fogged and I can't really read anything. Hello. For those that are saying hi, Ismael, hi. How are you guys doing? Again, as a reminder, for those that are taking my March courses, they begin this Saturday, the 15th, and Sunday, the 16th. So the email that you guys get back when you sign up for my course, you have to open up that link, the respond link, and scroll all the way down to the Zoom link, okay? The Zoom link is when you scroll all the way down, as a reminder for those that are taking my March courses. All right, so you guys know about that this is the time to take some questions. So if you guys could type your questions in capital letters, that would be greatly appreciated. No, we don't have to fight the reptilians and greys in 4D. We've been fighting them in 4D. Again, guys, the future and the past are all happening simultaneously with the present. So when a lot of us go to sleep, we go into battle against these dark forces, okay? So it's already taken place. We've already won the war, by the way. We've already cleaned out the fourth dimension. It is no longer an eighth sphere where the dark entities of the Archon forces hang out in. We've already cleansed it, okay? We've already cleansed it. No, I don't think I was on. Yes, I was on this Saturday. I did do a live Saturday, actually. Yes, I did. Oh, hi, Athena. You finally decided to show up, huh? You guys are so welcome. I do have one super chat from Agnes KS. Thank you so much for that super chat, sister. She says, Namaste, Ishmael. When is the maritime law going to be abolished? And when is the approximate time that the Galactic Codex is going to be implemented? Thank you. All right, well, that's a two-part question. Let me first address the first part. Maritime law is no longer in operation. Okay, let me repeat that again. Maritime law is no longer in operation. Okay, it was actually abolished right before Mr. T was inaugurated. It was actually abolished, and that explains why he had an official inauguration a few weeks prior to the 20th of January. As to why he did not put his hand on the Bible, because he had already done that. Okay, that's where maritime law ended. That's where corporate USA, ended. Corporate America ended. We are no longer operating under corporate America. Now, about the Galactic Codex. The Galactic Codex could be multiple things. It could also be to a set of rules and principles known as universal laws that many advanced civilizations respect. But it could also be related to the restoration of the original DNA, the original 12-strand Terranusian angelic DNA back to the Earth. So the Galactic Codex could be multiple things. But yeah, the Galactic Codex is prophesied and it is scheduled to be restored back to the Earth. When does the QFS go into effect? Again, it's going to run parallel to the shift of the ages. So it goes into effect upon the Great Solar Flash. And I've already said this before, and I'll say it again. There are going to be 3 flashes now. Okay, the first one is going to cause a first waivers of those that are ready to ascend. That could be as early as late March, early April at solar maximum. And the second flash is going to happen at the end of this year. So the QFS can happen anytime at the end of March due to the first flash or the beginning of April. But that's just hypothetical. Let's see what happens. But yeah, it is scheduled to happen upon the transition or shift of the ages, okay, which is going to lead, again, to critical mass effect, where all of a sudden, all of this information will come out to the general public. And they have to, okay? It has to happen. Charlotte Rayner from Canada, she says, what's going on in Canada with the new PM Mark Carney? Yeah, I heard that Trudeau stepped down and that another deep stater who's actually worse than Trudeau came into power. That is not good news. This is why I believe that the global military White Hat Alliance is also going to be installing some sort of a Doge department in Canada, because I heard from the geopolitical grapevine that Canada within the private sector is already the 51st state. Okay, so what that means is that it is just a matter of time before not only do they expose the treasonous criminals here in this country, in the US, but also expose the treasonous criminals and their crimes against humanity worldwide. Okay, so I don't think he's going to be there too long, to be honest with you, Chantel. I think sometime this year, because this is the year of disclosure, everything's going to come to light, and all of these corrupt individuals are going to be forced to step down, or they're just going to be arrested. Let's just say that. They're just going to be arrested. Let's be truthful here. Loretta, thank you so much for the number 1 and for the super chat. This is a shout out to Loretta Addicts. Thank you so much for being here. This is a question from Dr. Christine Blake Smith. She's asking, how do you know if you are a light being, and how do we uncover natural lost ancient medicine? I'm going to go ahead and pin this for everybody to see. This is actually a really good question from Dr. Christine Blake Smith. Welcome, welcome. Well, the fact that you are here listening to my live, right? Like attracts like, right? tells me that you are a light being, that you are one of the many volunteers. There's millions of volunteers, anywhere from the age of, 1 to the age of 89, 90, 95. Okay. So that tells me that you are one of the many volunteers that came at this time. Dr. Christine Blake Smith. That's how you know you're a light worker. But also, another indicator that you're a light worker is you've always had empathy and compassion for all living things, humans, animals alike, Mother Earth. You never really resonated with the establishment. You were a critical thinker. You saw through the BS, especially when they rolled out the bio, thing, the bio, you know what I mean, right? You knew, okay? So that's one of the indicators that you are a light being, okay? You cannot be easily manipulated, right? You're not part of the herd mind mentality, right? So, how do you uncover natural lost ancient medicines? Well, that's part of the revolution that is happening right now from behind the scenes, with, of course, RFK Jr. leading in the front line with the MAHA movement, making America healthy again. So part of the agenda of the White Hats is to restore not only the medbed technology, but all lost natural ancient medicines and remedies that actually had been used in ancient Egypt and ancient Atlantis. And it's going to be back to that. Okay. It's going to be back to that. So all that stuff is going to also come out. Okay. And again, within the private sector, they are already using these alternative ancient remedies. And Athena is just licking my elbow like there's no tomorrow. I don't know if I dropped food earlier or if or if my elbow tastes like sugar. She won't stop licking it. All right, Athena, enough is enough. Thank you, Athena. Let me concentrate here. Yeah, courts are still using maritime law because the courts are part of that old system that's about to crumble and collapse. But as far as as far as you could say, your birth certificate, your marriage, all that stuff is no longer valid. Okay, that stuff is no longer valid. You are no longer a number. In other words, your birth certificate is no longer a number in the system. Okay. Yes, XRP is still safe. Absolutely. All right, I see another good question about Rh negative blood. It's been a while since I've addressed anything about Rh negative blood type. This is a question from Sunny Love Light. Hi, Ishmael. You talked about Rh blood. Please, could you tell about O blood or O negative blood type? I know I am an old soul and I am in the first shift for ascension. I had a tough life. I know I needed to make it that strong. All right. Well, let me answer the first part of your question. So you've had a tough life, like most of us. I've been through hell and back, guys. My whole life, ever since I was a kid, I've been kind of going. I went through a lot, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys had, and that means a lot of that means is that you are here to do something great. Okay. So now regarding Rh negative or O negative blood type, if you're O negative blood type, which is the universal donor, that is the blood type that everyone else could take, then that tells you that you are a direct descendant of a race that was not corrupted with the monkey genetics, that did not have any primitive genetics. Okay. If you go back to Atlantean times, right, when Enki, the master geneticist, was trying to corrupt the original Adamic race, back then known as the Atlanteans, there was only a certain, you could say, a small percentage, right, that was left undiluted. And that percentage gave us the original Sumerian kings, all right? Some were good, some were bad. But the good ones eventually manifested in the lineage of Terah, the father of Abraham, our biblical Abraham, who was the good one, and of course the lineage of King David. Okay, so you are a descendant of the lineage of King David. If you're O negative, you are of royal blood, in other words. And that has a lot to do also with AB negative, because it's believed that Jesus was AB negative. So if you're AB negative, you also come from the line of King David. That's what that means. O negative and AB negative means that you come from royal blood. What is the significance of a blood moon, bloody moon? Well, that is another sign of the times that we are living in a time where we are witnessing the ending of one era and the beginning of another. Okay, those are called end time prophecies, and I believe that since 2016, we've already had 4 blood moons. 4 blood moons since 2016. Okay, so the last one is, I think it's already here, or it already happened. I'm not sure. I'm looking for. There's so many questions here. I don't even know which one to address, but um, okay, 144,000. That is based on genetic expression and frequency. It's not just 144,000 people. It's going to be millions of people. All right. Now, another thing I wanted to clarify. The last time I went live, I did talk about being sealed with the mark of the Christ. Okay, those are the chosen ones. Okay, those are the ones that took the clarion call, and again, it's millions of us that were chosen to lead in this last battle against evil. Okay, so what I meant to say is that you carry the mark of the Christ, is that you are of the body of the Christ. You are a Christed individual, a Christed warrior that has come down into human form. That's what that means. That you have been sealed by the blood of the Christ, right? Of the blood of the Lamb, as they call it. Yes, anything that is B negative, AB negative, O negative, A negative means that you don't have the primitive genetics. You don't have the rhesus monkey protein gene. So that means that you come from that, I think it's 1 or 2% undiluted strain that can be traceable all the way to Noah and Shem. Well, Shem, Noah's righteous son. Again, a lot of that information is in the Secret Government Invisible Architects. Okay, so anything that is positive, for those of you that are A positive, B positive, O positive, AB positive, that means that you share only 3% of your DNA makeup with the chimpanzees through the Homo erectus race, all right, and Neanderthal race. So that's all that means. That 3% of your genetic material is similar to Homo erectus, Homo Neanderthals, the Neanderthals. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, which is very similar to the chimpanzees. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, guys, because it's like I believe it's about 87% of the world population that are positive, that carry the primitive gene, but it's only 3%. Okay, 3%, and you could thank Enki for that. For those that thought Enki was the good guy, you could thank Enki, the Anunnaki, for that. So many questions. Does a spiritually awakened individual mean that they're Christed? Does a spiritual awakening mean I am a Christed individual? This is a question from Sarah. Chances are that you are, yes. If you've done the inner work, if you are a person who is service to others, who meditates and prays, and that means you're a Christed individual. Absolutely. Allison Orr is asking a good question. She says, "Hello, Ishmael. Can you please advise a DVD or CD that we can start learning how to better meditate and follow frequencies for meditation, healing, and learning to deepen our understanding of dimensions?" Well, that's one of the things that I teach in both my Ascension Basics and Ascension 2.0. I teach the most advanced methods that will allow you to plug into your, again, the quantum field and access your multidimensionality. So that's one of the things that I do teach in these classes. It's not just me. Um, it's not just me, lecturing with giving you guys all the information, but also teaching you the methods and tools and how to properly execute those methods and tools, techniques, in other words. No, nobody hears a monkey. Okay, again, there was a misunderstanding. 87% of the world population are positive. And what that means is that only 3% of your genetic material is shared with the chimpanzees due to the admixing of Homo erectus DNA with Adamic Atlantean DNA. And this took place thousands of years ago at the time during the fall of Atlantis. Okay, actually, not even that, during the peak of Atlantis. A lot of this genetic engineering and their attempt to create a slave race could actually be traceable back to 300,000 years ago. 300,000 years ago. So yes, if you're Rh negative, on the other hand, which is only 13 or 12% of the world population, means that you come from a line that was uncorrupted by the 3% of the monkey genetics. And there's nothing wrong with having 3% Neanderthal or 3% Cro-Magnon. I'm sorry, not Cro-Magnon, Homo erectus. I believe Enki took genetics from Homo erectus. Back then there was Homo robustus, Homo africanus, Homo erectus, Homo habilis. They were all kind of sprung from an even earlier primitive stock known as the Australopithecus race. And then when the Anunnaki arrived, they took genetics of the most intelligent branch of the Australopithecus race, which became known as Homo erectus, to create a slave race, pretty much to downgrade the consciousness of an Atlantean in order to create a slave race. Okay, and this is all going to be in my next book, by the way. Yes, we are Homo sapiens sapiens, right? That's what we are considered. That is true. Are aliens around us, living in vast oceans, and can we see them? This is a good question. And the answer to that is yes. The aliens or the interdimensionals or off-world intelligences, whatever you want to call them, they have always been here, all right? They have always been here living inside the oceans, inside the earth, and believe it or not, in a different dimension, they have been coexisting with our reality as well. So the answer to that is yes, absolutely. And why do we have deja vu? Deja vu. Good question. Because every single one of you, is living in multiple lives and multiple realities and multiple dimensions all at the same time. And so that's the reason why we have deja vu. Okay, so it's almost like you've been there before. I've done this before. Well, yeah, because you are operating multiple avatars in different dimensions and in different parallel Earth realities. Okay, that explains deja vu. Excuse my dog. She fell asleep and I think she's starting to snore. Oh, she is not snoring. What a good girl. Oh, there she goes. A little snore came out. Thank you, F and Rambakis for that super chat. She says, "Hi Ishmael. So everything you come back to this planet. So everything you come back to this planet, huh? How would you have the same blood type? It is going to change with the body and type of race you choose." Let's see if I can answer a question. Hi Ishmael. So everything you come back to this planet, how would you have the same blood type? How would you have the same blood type? Is it going to change with the body and type of race you choose? All right, so when the Dorman DNA, which is the other 96% crystalline structure, or 97%, when that becomes activated, that's going to automatically cancel the 3% genetic material that is known as primitive genes, that is traceable to the Homo erectus. So yeah, the activation of the other 97% of our DNA, right? And that explains why only 3% is shared with the chimpanzees and the monkeys, is going to cancel the monkey synthesis protein gene that comprise 3% of the DNA of 87% of humans. Again, only 87% of humans share 3% of their genetic material with the chimpanzees due to what happened in ancient Atlantis. But upon the activation of our crystalline genetics, that will automatically cancel out the primitive brain. Okay, you're going to be operating with full consciousness now. We are restoring our galactic multidimensionality, our galactic heritage. So we will no longer be Homo sapiens sapiens. We're going to be called Homo luminous. Homo luminous when this happens. Kathy Rennick, welcome. Kathy Rennick is asking, will we be living this planet? Are we leaving this planet to another planet? No, not at all. The new Earth is all around us. It's just that we don't see it because it's operating in a higher frequency. So when the shift takes place, due to the explosion of information that is about to be released sometime this year, in the next few weeks, by, I would say, no later than June, we're going to start seeing droplets of data to the general public. That's going to cause a critical mass shift in consciousness. So, the new Earth is already here. It's just operating at different frequencies. And it's very similar to the quote that Jesus stated in the Bible in the New Testament when they asked him, well, where is the kingdom of God? And Jesus replied, the kingdom of God is all around you. It's just that people don't see it. He was referring to the fifth dimensional world that has always been here. So when we go into this new Earth, we're not going anywhere. We're staying here. We're just shifting into a new dimensional bandwidth. That's all we're doing. Very similar to how radio and television works. We're going to go from one station to another station. That's it, right? Same space, different frequency. Good question, though, Kathy. Good question. So yeah, we're not going off-world. We're staying here. We're just shifting, translating into a new bandwidth of reality that is already here coexisting. What do I think about mushrooms, magical mushrooms? Are you talking about the ones that make you hallucinate? I've never tried them. I think I've only tried them twice now, but not to the effect where I was hallucinating. I did. I think I tried what is called microdosing, and that's supposed to like rewire your brain. It's supposed to release serotonin, and it's supposed to help undo, of course, any stress and anxiety that was incurred by trauma. But as far as like doing a whole mushroom where I start hallucinating, I've never tried it. I don't even know what it's like. So I don't know anything. I don't really know much about magic mushrooms, to be exact. But I hear that microdosing occasionally is good for the rewiring of your brain, and it's also healthy, and it generates more neurotransmitters and neurons. That's what I hear. And it also helps with depression. I heard that it also helps with depression when you microdose. But again, if you learn how to meditate correctly, you won't need microdosing. You could do that all on your own. You won't need microdosing. I've never tried ayahuasca either. I guess they call this plant medicine. That's what they call this. So yes, this is a good question. So I don't know if you guys are here keeping track of the stock market, but it's not doing very well. This is a question from Norm Rigimball. Are all species contained within the firmament, and are the stars embedded in the firmament? If you're referring to this flat Earth concept where all the stars and the planets are inside this dome, that's actually false. That was created by the CIA in order to counterattack and counterfeit the secret space program. And the fact that within the private sector, we've had these breakaway groups that left our planetary sphere since the 1940s up until the present. Okay, so there is no firmament. The stars and the planets are actually outside of our planet, outside of our stratosphere. Our planet with other planets is revolving around a star, as our star with other stars revolves around its central sun. Okay, so everything is a revolution within a revolution within a revolution. The stars and planets are outside, and some of these star systems are located light years away. Okay, so there is no fixed dome, right? Nothing is fixated. All right, nothing is fixated. And no, to answer your question, because there is no fixed dome, most of the intelligent life forms exist all throughout the universe, all right? All throughout the universe. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to see. Patricia M. Is the downward movement of stock market shows we are transferring to QFS? Yes. Yes, for those that are not keeping updated on what's happening with the stock market, it's plummeting. It is plummeting, right? It is collapsing. It is heading in a downward spiral. That is a precursor to a worldwide activation of the global currency reset, okay, the QFS, which is going to place the QFS or allow the QFS to come into full operation. Good comment, good question. Let's see. I like this. The primitive brain is the ego mind. That is so true. Yes. T. Sinclair says, well, thank God I never invested. You must be referring to the stock market. Neither have I. Never have and never will. Because I always knew that it was, it was all controlled by the banking systems. All right. Lee Archer wants to know, will the QFS protect the money we currently have in the bank? Yes, because what's going to happen is whatever money you currently have in the bank, that's just going to be translated into the Bank of Universal Abundance, into the units that are going to be backed by real precious metals. So it's all going to be transferred into the new quantum financial system. Correct. Oh, this is a good question. This is a good question. Do we need the QFS if we are in 5D? Well, in 5D, again, you're going to be using your light body. Okay, you're going to be using the natural living organic software known as the crystalline structure within your genes. And that, my friends, will automatically be connected with the crystalline structure of the organic living computer known as the QFS. So no, you won't be needing anything. You're going to be automatically in a symbiotic relationship with the quantum financial system. So anything that you need will be manifesting at the speed of light. You will be a natural replicator for those that go into the 50th earth. That is going to be a realm where the magic will be taking place. And then for those that go into the fourth D earth reality, which is going to be a large portion of the new souls, right? The younger souls, the old earth Terrans, they're going to be in a fourth D reality using the hover cars. They're going to be using the spacecraft, the free energy devices, and also, all of that interplanetary technology that the breakaway groups have been using for over 85 years. Okay, so yeah, that reality, which is going to be very similar to a Star Trek reality, is going to be only existing within the fourth D. And the people that go into the fourth D, because they're not going to be using their natural powers, their natural gifts, their natural abilities, are going to be still depending on, hover cars to get to work, on spacecraft to go from one planet to the next or from one system to the next. Family of Love and Light says, Ishmael, can you please explain why there is somebody on this chat bashing everything you're saying? Well, I can't help that I don't have a moderator, so anyone's welcome, and everyone has free will, and anyone can be on my chat. So I don't know who they are. I can't really catch who these people are that are bashing everything I'm saying. But I guess they call them people. What do they call them? Trolls, right? They call them trolls. I think everybody that is speaking, alternative information, revealing information, is always going to get trolled. Okay, so I don't know if these trolls are actually NPCs. I don't know if these trolls are hired agents from the deep state, or I don't know if they're working for Elena Denon. I am not sure, but again, I don't have a moderator. Okay, so if you guys could just ignore the trolls, that's all I could say. They're not going to affect me, and hopefully they don't affect you guys either. Just let them be, right? Let them be. Yes, somebody says they are NPCs. Well, again, it could be a bunch of bots, right, that are trying to, discourage people from learning the truth about how everything works. Exactly. All traders are welcome here. Again, guys, I don't have a moderator, okay? I don't have a moderator. So if there's trolls in the house, what can we do, right? Life goes on. Okay. Yes, medbeds are going to cure everything. Everything. The questions are going super fast. I'm going to have to pause so I can answer one question at least, or as many as I can. Somebody keeps asking this, smoking marijuana affect your ascension? Well, that all depends on where you're at, and that all depends if whether you're using it for spiritual reasons or you're using it because you're an addict. Okay, if you're using it every day and you can't live without it, obviously it's taken over your mind. Okay, then it's not a good thing. But if you use it occasionally for spiritual reasons, just like the Native Americans did, then I don't think it's going to affect your ascension as long as you're not addicted to it. Okay, as long as you're not addicted to it. So again, I wanted to remind you guys, if you guys could all share my lives with as many people as possible, it really helps my channel grow. I would like to eventually reach a large audience when it comes to all these updates, galactic intel, metaphysical knowledge, and everything, the real history of the Earth, and so on and so forth. And thank you. I see that a lot of you guys are giving me likes. Thank you so much. I have exactly 2,463 people. If you guys could all hit the like at this time, that would be great. Thank you. Let's see. Um, no, I have nothing against Lena Denon. She is not my arch enemy. It is the force behind her that is my arch enemy. And that is Enki Poseidon. Okay? That is Enki Poseidon. Actually, I've forgiven him. I'm not even going to let him affect me anymore. But throughout history, Enki Poseidon has always been my rival. All right, guys, I think I've been broadcasting for an hour and 30 minutes, and now it's time to go have some eggs and take my dog for a walk. Tina, you ready to go for a walk? All right, guys, I will talk to you guys in 2 more nights to give you guys another update. May the God force be with you all. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.